Alright guys, how we doing? Last segment on will the fuel pumps work? Absolutely yes. And all you guys out there, I agree with you. You know, my dad could go out and fire up an old Willie's Jeep that had these old pumps on it and they would still fire up and run. I agree with everybody that the ethanol is absolutely junk. Here in Delaware, they push ethanol on us. It's hard to find regular gas. We can drive to Maryland and get regular gas. So around here, a lot of us put stabilizer in it, or ethanol, an ethanol stabilizer, or something like CudaBill to try to get the gas a little stronger. But here we go. There's the pump I showed you the other day in part 3. Okay, there's the diaphragm that came out of the brand new pump from Tui's. I'm gonna tell you what, that's a great piece of rubber. That is a great piece. It's not even actually rubber. It's got, you can tell it's got like a pattern to it. But anyway, let's go over here. This is a 1970, 75, something like that, Holley racing pump that I bought years ago when I was going to go racing. Okay, even if you can zoom in and see that. And the problem with these pumps sitting after they've been soaked in gas, okay, is look right there. Can you see that lip? After they've been soaked in regular gas, that lip right there gets hard. And now this is a 1970 pump. And it's been dry. I bought this probably in the 80s from a guy that did a lot of racing. So it's been dry, what, 50 years after gas. And that is hard as a rock, okay? So I knew I was going to have to rebuild this one. Problem was I never got a rebuild kit for it. So let's put the chrome Holley pump away. Here is a pump. Zoom in on that. Big internet speed shop. Big on the internet. I'm not going to call them out. They changed hands. Anyway, bought this pump 2 years ago for my dual 4 Cuda. And it lasted about 6 months with ethanol. And with stabilizer. And here's what, and I wanted to take it apart to see why it failed. Because it sat out there. And so what I think the alcohol is doing is drying out. Because look, we have the same thing going on. If I try to straighten out that hump right there, okay, all right, it doesn't straighten out. So the alcohol is getting into drying that rubber up. But this rubber is really thin. And it is literally just rubber. Okay, that is just rubber. Compared to the original pumps back in the day, this one here. Let me take this off. I'm going to show you. This is the one from the 70s. And it's got damn near the same material in it. Okay? So one has white lines, one has red lines, which I imagine has to do with different ratings in fuel. And this one is still flexible, and none of them have deteriorated. I think where the guys are seeing all the black stuff in their fuel filters is from the fuel lines themselves that aren't rated for ethanol. But I've heard a lot about that, and I've actually seen a fuel line break down. I will say that. I've seen a brake line or a fuel line that will collapse in the center and look good, but you can't get any fuel through it. So I think all the black stuff we're seeing is from the brake line or from the fuel line themselves, not from these. Because this one right here, let me get the right one. I'm getting them all mixed up here. Okay, there's a Holley pump. This one right here, it's not deteriorated, okay? But it's hard as a rock, all right? The flex is gone in it. And like I said, that's just plain rubber. No lines on it, no extra markings. That's just a plain piece of rubber with holes poked in it. So they cheaped out and stopped using this good rubber. All right. Now this is the rubber out of the Tui pump. And I'm gonna tell you what, man, that rubber, even the top rubber has the lines at the top of it, and it is really good. I mean, I'm talking. Look at that. I don't know if you can see that. Zoom into that. See how flexible that is? Where these, you can't even push them in anymore. They want to pull the whole diaphragm with them. So, yeah, it's not going to be a rubber issue, and it's not going to deteriorate the minute I put gas to it. Will I run some tranny fluid through these just to get them wet? I probably will, but I don't think the tranny fluid is going to soak into them. I think what they're talking about is keeping that like having tranny fluid, keeping that from doing that right there, from turning hard. Because I'm going to tell you what, that one right there, can you see how bad that lip is? From it drying out like that lip is hard as a rock. Okay? So any fuel pump that sits and dries out, that's what's happening. Okay? That's exactly what's happening. But yeah, as soon as this snowmageddon ice gets away from us, I'm going to bolt this pump right here. This pump right here that still has the white lithium grease in it from the warehouse. I'm going to bolt it on. I don't think it's going to be any problem. I don't think it's going to be any problem at all. I think it's going to work just fine, even with the ethanol. I think what might be smart to do is make sure I have stabilizer in it, something to stabilize the ethanol, because when this pump sits around, and that's the problem with our old cars. We use them on weekends. We don't drive them every day. And when they're not being driven every day, they dry up and they turn into that rock hard. But there's no signs of deterioration of the rubber. I'm going to tell you what, that 50s and 60s rubber is a whole lot better rubber, in my opinion. So there's the end of the fuel pump saga. Stay tuned. We got parts, and more parts. And as soon as this weather gets stalled out, we're going to do a hydraulic oil shock test, because of all them oil shocks we took out of there. A couple, probably close to 5,000 oil shocks we took out of there. And there's so many other parts that we're going to test. I don't think we're going to have to test the electronic parts. The electronics sitting on the shelf. It was the warehouse was dry, okay? There were two corners where the roof had caved in and there was a little bit of water coming in. All right, but in the main two sections of the warehouse, it was dry as can be. Now, the heat was turned off in 2020. Okay, 2018, 2019, when Mr. Tui's son Doug died, and they quit using the office. So the place, it wasn't environmental controlled, but it was very dry. The parts froze in the winter. The parts got hot in the summer because of being in a warehouse. But it had high ceilings in the warehouse. So I don't think we're going to find many parts in it that don't work. The few parts we did find were the 1960s and 70s gaskets that were up on the very, very top shelf. Okay, when we pulled them down, the cork was brittle. But the other gasket sets we opened up, they're from like 1970, 1980. They were all good shape. Even the 1990 gaskets, the Permatorque Blue Felpro head gaskets, they even looked really good. And the cork that was in the boxes for any of them was very flexible. So I don't think we're going to have many problems with these parts. I think the biggest problem is going to be is getting them all identified. And somebody asked me, do I have the books? There's the books. There's the books. We have boxes and boxes and boxes of books. Okay? Google's helping us identify this stuff by the part number, and the books are going to help us identify it. So yeah, we've got a way to do it. Is it going to take 6 months to get it all online? It sure is. Probably going to take 6 or 8 months to get it all online. But we got a lot of great stuff to go. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I appreciate you. Like, follow, comment, share. Appreciate it. We got a big parts push coming out where we're going to start giving these parts away. Free parts. Yes, I said it. Free brand new parts. Okay? Because we never did this to become parts salesmen. We did this to redistribute the parts back to the people. Okay? To gain attention to our goals of the foundation, to open a tech center and teach people how to work on cars when they can come to the tech center, because a full-time school is out of the book for a lot of people. Okay? So we got a lot of things going on here, and yes, I said it, you heard it. I'm going to give parts away. Go to the store, subscribe on the store, subscribe on my channel, because we got a big announcement coming out. We're going to give hundreds. Okay, we're going to give gift certificates away for hundreds of dollars in car parts, brand new car parts from the Tui warehouse. So stay tuned for that. Subscribe, like, blah, blah, blah. We'll be back soon with more, guys. Appreciate you following. We're always back and forth from the Corvette shop. This channel is about car parts and cars. Okay, classic cars, muscle cars, vintage cars. car parts and cars. So stay tuned. Hope you stick around. Later.